all good. Can you just start by saying and spelling your first and last name for
Yep.
us, and then your position here?
Yep. First name is Wayne, W-A-Y-N-E. Last name is Jernberg, J-E-R-N-B-E-R-G. Water System Manager for the City of Grand Rapids.
Okay. All right. Everyone this afternoon is talking about the water in Grand Rapids, specifically on the northeast side with the water main break. Can you kind of just explain what you guys know so far about that break?
Yeah, so we got notified, our operators basically noticed a large pressure drop about 1:30 this afternoon. As we started to dig into it and respond to it, we came to the conclusion that there had to be some sort of break somewhere that was causing an issue with the pump stations. And lo and behold, we did find an issue in the Union and near Union and Leonard. It's in a very remote area along the Carrier Creek area where there is a break. It's very close to a transmission water main that comes out of our Livingston pump station, supplies the northeast side, Nap Tank, Dean Lake Service Center. That pressure drop from that break created an issue at our Livingston pump station on the discharge side that caused our pressure switches there to go into alert and shut the pumps off. And when those pumps shut off, it effectively killed service to the northeast side. Our Nap tank drained rather quickly, obviously because of demands in the system. And at that point, we knew we had to isolate that. So crews responded as quickly as they could to isolate that. And we really responded as quickly as we could. Like I said, we were notified about 1:30 by the operators. And by 2:30, 3 o'clock, we were already starting to make valve operations happen to isolate that area.
Do you know why this happened?
Not at this point. We don't know exactly why the break occurred, okay, but we're going to be looking into that more tomorrow, and the formal repair will happen tomorrow. It does not impact, the break itself does not impact any customers directly, okay, so nobody is technically without water. It's just a large chunk of the area is compromised with potential water that may have been compromised with the loss in pressure in the system.
How many potential customers are we talking?
In the neighborhood of probably about 20,000 customers.
And how many as a whole does Grand Rapids
We have over 80,000 accounts in our system, actually 81,000 accounts in our system. We serve a population of about 325,000 people.
So about a quarter of your accounts?
About a quarter of our accounts were impacted by this, yes.
And those customers include residents and businesses?
That's residents and businesses, and basically mainly the second ward, a little bit of the third ward, and then also Grand Rapids Township is impacted as well.
Do you know how many in Grand Rapids Township, or is that in the number?
That would be part of that number. Okay. They're part of our retail system, yes.
And we've heard from some people that their water has come back on. You know, some people had none, and then they had a little low pressure, it got better and better, and they got it all back. Do you know how many you have left?
All residents should have water service at this time. However, because of the loss in pressure, we are asking that they boil their water until further notice. Our intent is, we've already been talking with Eagle, our intent is to begin sampling tomorrow into Tuesday. Hopefully by Wednesday, if everything goes as we hope, and all of our samples come back clean, then they should have their water service back Wednesday where they won't have to boil it.
For people that understand, can you just take me through the importance of boiling water at this time, why you got to do it?
Well, what can happen when there's a loss in pressure in the system, there's a chance that harmful things from the ground can end back up in the water system, in the pipes and stuff like that come out. So if you boil it, you're essentially killing off any pathogens, things like that.
Are we concerned about lead right now?
You should not, no. The issues with lead are not an issue. They're not affiliated with this in any way, shape, or form.
And was this line one of the lines that was set to be repaired in fiscal year 2024?
It's not. It's not. This is actually a kind of a remote area. Like I said, it's in the Coldbrook or Carrier Creek, Coldbrook area, down in a remote area there.
And how did this impact the community with residents and people responding to it?
Well, we started getting calls coming in about 1:30. I think the first one that I saw from our after-hour service was about 1:31 this afternoon, talking about low water pressure. Most of the calls that we came in were on the northeast side. Okay, obviously this was the only pump station that was primarily affected, but it impacts multiple other pump stations downstream. Our Franklin pump station over by MLK Park, that one was not impacted. That was able to pick up some of the service, but it's not big enough to handle the remaining portion of the area all the way up to 4 Mile. And that's where some of the issues occurred, and all the way out into Grand Rapids Township.
Is the water the same color too, of being clear? Is it yellow?
It should be the same color. However, we do have crews out right now that are flushing the system to make sure that there's high chlorine residuals throughout the system. Where these hydrants are being flushed at, there might be some slight discolorations at that time. But that will only be temporary.
Can you talk a little bit more about the steps that will take place over the next few days, just to make sure that the water is safe for people to start drinking again without
Yep,
having to go in?
so our formal repair is gonna happen tomorrow morning and into the afternoon. We have crews out, like I said, flushing multiple hydrants. I think we have in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 hydrants that'll be flushed across basically the second ward and into Grand Rapids Township tonight and into tomorrow morning. We're going to start collecting samples tomorrow. We've been in consultation with Eagle. Eagle's basically said collect samples. We have to do 2 consecutive days, basically 48 hours clear. And then sometime on Wednesday, we should be able to give the public more information. Our intent is to send out weekly or daily updates going forward. So if, our first round of samples come back clear, we'll basically kind of remind folks, keep boiling your water. We know we're still collecting samples, things like that.
So it could be, not could be, it will be at earliest Wednesday before the
That is
12-hour
correct.
process.
Earliest would be Wednesday.
So we go into tomorrow, people who are watching this should expect to be boiling their water for
That
the
is-
next few days.
That is correct. That is correct.
For boiling water, would water filters be a substitute, or would you not recommend that?
I would, no, not for the pathogen side of things and the bacteria and stuff like that. I would recommend that they boil their water. Safe water pressure should be back to normal, if not right now, in the next hour or so. Everybody should, like I said, have access to water at this point. But in terms of the safety of water for use for cooking, cleaning your pans, things like that, make sure you're boiling your water. Showers, flushing toilets, no issues. Okay, shouldn't be any issues with that.
Sorry, I had a question right now. I know Allison had asked about the potential of lead, and you guys aren't necessarily worried about that. But what are examples of some of the pathogens and bacteria that could be in the water?
I'm
that
gonna
you
have.
guys are looking out for?
I'm not a lab scientist like that, so I can't answer that question.
As far as that pipe, do you know when the last repair was made on it?
Yeah, we were actually in that area not too long ago. We actually had a culvert replacement nearby that we were working on some valves in that area. That actual section of pipe, I don't know for certain at this point, but we were working in that area probably in the last month or so.
Is there any potential connection to that work and what happened here?
I can't answer that question at this time. I don't know.
Just talking about water main breaks in general in the city of Grand Rapids, when was the last time the city had a water main break this size and of this impact?
In terms of, that's a tough question to answer because they're all relatively different, okay? In my time, I've been around quite a few years with the system. I've seen some larger impacts. Some are very minor, okay? This one just happened, the way that it impacted the pump station is very unique, and I've never seen anything like this in my time.
Can you explain that split along Hall Street? Is the water system divided there? Or?
So we've got in the neighborhood of 12 pressure districts in our system. So there's going to be some businesses that are in our area that have, how do I say this? That jog there is associated with what we call our East Intermediate Pressure District, okay? And then once you get east of that, it turns into the East High Pressure District. And Franklin Pump Station starts to take care of that particular area. So that jog that you see along Hall Street and Eastern, that is the boundaries of the East Intermediate Pressure District, which is fed from that Livingston pump station on a separate pumping, 2 pumps or 3 pumps on that half of the pump station.
Is there any concern that this could spread to other districts?
No, not at this point. We've been in conversations with our partner communities, Grand Rapids Township. We've talked with them. They have our full support, or they've given us their full support in terms of the repair and getting water back to all their customers in a safe manner. We've talked with Ada Township in terms of their consecutive system, wholesale system of ours. We've also talked to East Grand Rapids. East Grand Rapids is not impacted by this in any way, shape, or form.
Is the city's emergency response team aware or a part of this at all?
Yes, they are. In fact, we had an EOC meeting here. I think we had a preliminary one at 4 o'clock, and then we had another one at about 6:15. We have another one coming up here in another hour or so.
When you say 20,000 were affected, when you say affected, all of them lose water at some point? Did some of them just have low pressure in their water?
Yes, that is, yes. When you say low pressure, not everybody lost water pressure. It may have been something where the reports that we have coming in, they can say that my water pressure is not the same as what it was. Okay, so if you're used to having 80 pounds of pressure and it goes down to 40, technically that's still safe, okay? The problem is when you're used to something a lot higher. In this situation, because the pump shut off, we have issued the boil water to ensure that this whole region, you know, we're taking all the precautions necessary.
What were the, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but I know you said the pressure levels dropped, like what were the numbers prior to this happening and then what were
It
they?
varies by pressure district. It varies by pressure district. Yep. Like the further you get out into Grand Rapids Township, the pressures obviously go down as the elevations go up. Those are where the first areas you're gonna see pressure issues at the higher elevations.
Anything else you wanna add? What, you know, message to people who are dealing with this?
Well, the area that we have in the map, which is, it's hard to explain, but essentially east of the river, up to 4 Mile, Grand Rapids Township, and essentially Fulton, and then that little portion to the south there. If you're in that zone, boil your water, take the precautions, okay? Boil your water, be safe, don't take any chances. Those outside of that region, there are no issues, the water is completely safe.
Anything else you wanna add? I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you.